whenever you're going through contracting, if you'll put some of these things in practice, it will make your life easier. Mm-hmm. It will make sure that you are, as the agent, the best that you can be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you said, that's all that we can control is what we do as the agents. And so I think we have a few thoughts in mind, a few tips. And listen, I do this every day.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things that you can put in play today that will drastically change your experience going through Medicare contracting.
Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome back to the Medicare Sales Playbook. I am your host, Dallas Keithley, and I'm joined again today by Medicare Matt Smith. We're going to get everybody calling. My goal is for people to yell at you in the supermarket, "Hey, Medicare Matt."
You know, I'm glad to be back.
Yeah.
I've always wanted a nickname.
It's an awful nickname, but it is a nickname.
Well, people frown upon you giving yourself a nickname.
Yeah,
and so
I've
gone through that. So I can't. So Medicare Matt, I'm super proud of that.
I have some others for you, but again, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, so we'll keep those here. No, it is great to have you back, man. And this one, in this show, we wanted to talk about something that everyone loves. I don't want to use the word hates. Hate's so strong.
Loves.
Let's just say it has been a burr in everyone's saddle at one time or another, including mine. And that is contracting.
Contracting, yes.
Yeah, it's like the driver's license for a car.
Yeah.
It's, you got to have it before you can get behind the wheel. And a lot of people, it's the bane of their existence. I would say it has knocked some people out of the business.
Oh, easily.
Because they're just like, okay, if this is the way business is, I don't want anything to do with it.
Sure.
Right. But what we wanted to do today is we want to come together and show you guys some things. Now, does that mean at the end of this episode, all contracting is going to go smoothly?
No.
And everything's going to just be amazing? First off, what we want to do today is make sure that you're doing everything in your power, because the only person you can fix is yourself.
Yes.
Thank you, Tony Robbins.
Yes.
Right. But we want to make sure that you're doing everything you can to make sure contracting goes smoothly. But why? First off, let's back up. What is contracting and why is it so hard?
So contracting is, it's just that everybody's signed, at least if you got a cell phone, you got to have, everybody signs some sort of a contract in it. And contracting in the Medicare, or I guess even in the life space, which obviously we're talking Medicare here, it is simply the process of you becoming credentialed and certified to represent and enroll people in specific carriers. And it's difficult because Medicare contracting is what it is. And that's a really terrible way to explain it, but Medicare contracting is lengthy.
Right.
And it's nuanced, and there's steps that you can't miss. And it can get weedy at times. Well,
and I think too, so let's say you as the agent, you do everything correctly.
Yes.
And then let's say you got an FMO, IMO, whatever. They do everything correctly.
Yes.
Sometimes they have an organization above them. They do everything correctly.
Yes.
But then it goes to the carrier, and they're human too.
Yep.
They can mess something up.
Absolutely.
So I think that's probably one of the things that makes it most difficult is there's so many hands touching it, and then it's attention to detail.
And you're right. It is, every layer of it that you add adds an opportunity for something to not go perfectly.
Right.
And that's outside of the agent's control. That might even be outside of their upline's control. And, end of the day, we have to comply with whatever it is that a carrier sets in place.
Yeah.
And so it doesn't matter how quickly we do our stuff, how accurately we are, and as an agent, how, at the end of the day, we are subject to the carrier rules and the carrier timelines, and that can slow things down. That can make us redo things. Those are things that are outside of our control. But I do think that there are a handful of practices that an agent can put in place It's not going to fix everything, but I can tell you that whenever you're going through contracting, if you'll put some of these things in practice, it will make your life easier. Mm-hmm. It will make sure that you are, as the agent, the best that you can be.
Yeah.
And at the end of the day, like you said, that's all that we can control is what we do as the agents. And so I think we have a few thoughts in mind, a few tips. And listen, I do this every day.
Yeah.
I think there's a few things that you can put in play today that will drastically change your experience going through Medicare contracting, and it'll have you quicker out on the road selling, quicker,
'cause that's
happier.
the goal.
Yes, that is the goal, to get on the road and go sell.
Okay, so let's jump right into it. What is I think you have what? You said 5, 6, maybe 9?
Yeah, we'll see.
Okay. What's the number one?
First thing, and so I wanted to go in order of importance.
Okay.
But I think that the best thing for us to do is go in order of start to finish in contracting. That makes more sense to me. And, we'll try to layer out importance at the end.
You guys are going to get an inside view as to how Medicare Matt's mind works.
Oh, boy.
Hold on.
Yeah, you might get some popcorn, cancel your next meeting. It's going to get entertaining here.
Yeah, don't call the psychiatrist, though. He's talked to him.
I see 3. So first thing that you're going to have to decide, and does this mean that you have to stay like this forever? No. But the first thing you have to decide is, am I going to contract as an individual, or am I going to contract as an agency or as a business entity?
Wow, that's a big one, dude.
That is the first step. And now so many people step into the industry and they start out as an individual, and there's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with stepping in as a business entity, as an LLC. Mm-hmm. But it is important that you decide which route you're going to go, because that is the way that you're going to do all of your contracts. If you're contracting as an agency, everything you do is going to be based on your agency NPN or your EIN or any of those agency numbers. And so it is so important that you decide which one you're going to be, mm-hmm. and you stay the course.
Yeah, because I see a lot of agents come in, they get they get contracted as an individual.
Yes.
They get it all done, mm-hmm. and they say, okay, now my accountant said, go get your business license, license your business, all that, and they don't realize that they have to recontract. So it's starting all over.
It's not as easy as, and this is where it becomes different. This is where you need to lean on mm-hmm. your upline, who should be able to explain these things to you. Your accountants don't typically know. Right. You wish they did, but they don't. That's great, because there's some great benefits to having an agency, to having the LLC, to being a business entity. But it's not as simple as just call them to carry and say, hey, I'm Matt Smith, and now I'm Matt Smith's agency. Right. It's not as simple as that. It is starting over from ground one and recontracting with pretty much every carrier.
So here's what I've ran into, because I talk to agents all the time. They're getting in the business. And if they're going to, depending on the state, but if they're going to come in as an agency, sometimes it can take a minute.
It can.
Because you have to license with the state mm-hmm. and get your business license. I've seen it take 2 or 3 months.
Sure.
And they're like, hold up. I can't, I can call my mortgage company and tell them I'm waiting on my business to get licensed. They don't care.
Yeah.
I need to get paid today. So I think that's why a lot of times people come in as an agent and then become an agency. But the problem is they don't realize they have to recontract.
And that's where whoever you're contracting underneath, that's why, like, if I'm contracting under you, you should be able to lead me in, like, hey, just so you know, if you're, you don't want to wait for that to get done, it is going to be a recontracting. Like, that's something that you need to be privy of ahead of time. But it is so important that, and again, you can redo things, you can change it, but it will make life easier if you do it right the first time.
Yeah.
Does that take a little extra time? Maybe. But it is important that you get it right the first time, or at least the way you do it the first time, you let it set for a little while, because as exciting as contracting is, I can promise you it's even more exciting the second time.
Oh, yeah.
And especially if you just did it 6 months ago.
Yeah. And the team that is contracting you, I'm not saying they're saying bad things about you, but you're not getting a Christmas card. That much. So number 2, what's number 2?
Second thing that you can do, so now you've decided, I'm going to be a business entity. The second thing that you can do, and now we're going to go ahead and pretend that we're all the way past, like, you know what carriers you need, you know all those different things. The second thing that you can do is you can create yourself a contracting specific email.
Okay.
So Dallas, your agency is Dallas at DallasKeithleyAgency.com.
It's got a ring to it.
It does have a ring to it. And I'll buy what you're selling.
Of course you will.
So the second thing that you would want to do is you would want to go and create yourself an email address that's going to be something like contracting at DallasKeithleyAgency.com. And the sole purpose of that email inbox is to do everything with contracting. And you're going to watch that like a hawk, because everything that you get in that email, listen, I have 45,000 emails in my personal inbox. About 5 years ago, it turned into a game, and I'm winning at how many I can get in that inbox.
I don't know that there is a winner in that situation.
I'm winning. But if a contract email, now I would never use that as my business, but let's say I had 10 or 15,000 emails in an inbox. It's really easy to do.
Agents,
don't do this.
We know.
Don't
No. You're out there. I can't figure out which camera. You're out there. You're sitting there and you're like, well, you got 18,000, but you expect to find that one Aetna contracting email.
They have 18,000 emails and they have 37 tabs open at the top of their screen.
Yep.
We know you're there. We see you.
We love you.
We do, but we would encourage you to start a contracting email.
Yeah.
Because everything that you need from the carriers is going to dump into that email address. And so if you look in there, like, listen, I've got my personal email and I have my work email. I don't check my personal email very much. There's probably things in there that are really important. I have no clue. I look at my work email every day. And so while you're in the process of contracting, it is important that you have that separate email and that you watch it like a hawk until you're done with the process.
Brilliant, man.
Until you're done with the process.
Yeah. Because I think that's that's probably the number one reason.
100%.
You're sitting there, you've got the email in your inbox and you forgot to check that you're not Ethiopian, right? And so you're sitting there and it's there.
Yes.
The company's waiting on it. You're all fussy because you think it's their fault. They think it's your fault. And everybody's mad at everybody. And there's one email that's unread in there.
Contracting, when you're going through the contracting process, and again, I know we put a lot of emphasis on this, and I talk to agents about this way more than I want to, but you can't sell without a contract.
Oh, I've had the phone call so many times. Have you checked your email? It's not there.
Are you
Could you
sure?
check it for me one more time?
Okay, there it is.
It wasn't there before. I've had that conversation.
You have to treat it like a full-time job.
Yeah.
Because what I think people try to do is they try to treat it like it's this little bitty box in the corner. I'll just like check it every now and then. Yeah. But when you're going through the process of contracting, that needs to be your full-time job. And what it's so easy to do is get one or two contracts done. All right, I can go sell, and now I go sell.
Yeah, and I forget about the
and
other.
you forget that you requested 10. But
until I'm
going down that road.
Until I'm sitting in front of a client, and they're like, "Hey, I need that one," and you're like, "Oh, I got to have it right now."
I don't have that one. Yep.
Yes. What's number 3?
So you've decided on that you're a business entity. Mm-hmm. You've decided now that you're going to take the smart move and you're going to make yourself a contracting specific email. I think this might be the most key thing. You are going to have a sense of urgency in doing your contract and a sense of urgency in doing your certifications. Because I think that probably the number one roadblock that I see and that I hear is that agents haven't completed their contracting. Mm-hmm. And it's there. If they had that second email inbox, they would see it. Mm-hmm. And I'm guilty of this too, letting certifications sit there.
Yeah.
But having a sense of urgency, because you can't sell without completing your contract. So you need to make some money, right?
Yeah.
You can't, if you're going to be a team builder, if you're going to have agents below you, they can't come on until your contracts are done.
Right. And to your point, we as agents are trained to think RGA. I've got to be completing revenue generating activity.
Yes.
And we look at certifications as non-RGA. Yes. But really, there is no RGA without the certifications.
None without the certification.
Yeah. It's just changing that mindset.
It is changing the mindset to, man, this really, I don't want to do this. But the only pathway to generating revenue is doing this.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
So having a sense of urgency. And the third thing in there
This would be
yes.
4.
No.
This is the third
thing here. So you want a sense of urgency because you want to get ready to sell. If you have teams
we're in
coming on below you,
sub-points.
we're in sub points
Okay.
here. Now listen, but this is important.
Okay.
Hear my voice crack a little
I
bit there?
did. Did you guys feel the intensity and the excitement and the passion come through
It's
about
important.
contracting?
I want to make your life easier because
We're talking about contracting.
I'm here to tell you, Alan Iverson, that if your contracting process is easy and if it's smooth and it feels good, you're going to love what you do next.
Oh, that's cake.
But contracting can put a bad taste in some people's mouth at certain times. But there are things that you can do. The last thing is that contracts are oftentimes they have an expiration. So what you don't want to do is you don't want to let that one sit in your inbox and say, you know what, I really don't need to sell that right now, so I'm going to let that sit there. And in 45 days, you go open it up, and it's a bad link. It's not valid anymore. And then you're like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get fussy because somebody sent me a bad link. Somebody did it, but really, it had a 30-day expiration date.
It was a bad link, yeah. That's like going and getting milk out of the fridge and being like, that stupid store sold me lumpy milk.
2 months ago.
2 months ago, yeah. Yeah, I get you.
A sense of urgency, I think if I could say any of those things, yes, all these points will be helpful, but having a sense of urgency and getting it done, spot number 1.
Nice. Okay. So we've got a business entity.
Yes.
We've got our own email that is just for contracts.
Yes.
You're not putting it in. You're not trying to win the John Deere at Home Depot, right? You're not entering
if
the
it's
email.
a big enough entry to win, put it there. But outside of that.
Yeah, you're not judging your friend's dog online and using that email. And then we've got a sense of urgency.
Yes.
What's next?
You are going to, you should create yourself some kind of a tracking mechanism. Whether that's a Google sheet, whether it's a Excel file, whether it's a legal pad, you should write down the contracts that you're getting and keep a status, right? So like you should say, I got these 5 contracts, okay? I completed them on this date. I submitted them on this date.
I'm trying so hard not to call you a nerd, but it's taken every... I had somebody tell me once, they looked at a personality test I did, and they said, my gosh.
He's a bully.
No. He looked at my personality test, and this was like a work personality. He said, you would rather have an STD than a spreadsheet. And I said, that is correct. But I agree with you. I didn't say it. He did. Right?
I get you.
But no, because I think a lot of times we just kind of hope, I think it'll get done. I hope it'll get done.
Yeah.
We rely on the memory. We rely on whatever. But yeah, the tracking mechanism is so important.
Because you need to know, here's some things that you need to put on your tracking mechanism too. I'll go ahead and tell you. I'll give you the secrets to the tracker.
He's giddy.
I am. But listen, I'm telling you, it makes a difference. It makes a difference in everybody's lives.
Sure.
You need to know what contracts you're getting. You need to know when you submitted them. You need to know what you ready for this? You ready? You need to know what your commission level is.
Ooh.
How much you're getting paid.
That would be nice. Yeah. See, now you got my attention.
You should know how much you're getting paid, because if you don't know how much you're getting paid, how do you know you're getting paid right?
Right.
I know how much I get paid, and I know when it hits my bank account.
Well, and
generally
to that point, we get calls all the time.
Yes.
Where commission was wrong.
Yeah.
Because maybe you're talking to the recruiter.
Sure.
The recruiter promises you this. But that doesn't get passed along to the contracting department.
Yeah.
They put in the contract, and you're supposed to be getting 115 on your live product, and you're only getting 105. And then you don't notice until you get that check, because what we all do, we do the math.
Yeah.
We write the policy, we do the math, we expect it Friday, and it comes up a little short on Friday. And we've already bought the golf clubs, right?
We did.
So,
and we're not taking them back.
We're not taking them back. So we call contracting. We're like, hey, and they're like, oh yeah, we do see here in the notes it said this, but so-and-so told me this. So it's so hard to go, and you're not going to go back and get that extra money.
Probably not.
Most likely not. It's so hard to go back and fix it.
But, it's important, obviously, and the other piece of that is that just because somebody, just because you are requested to be at that level, carrier might not approve it.
Yeah.
And so it's important that you know what your commission levels are. If you've got a ready to sell status, because you're going to get an email that says, congratulations, Dallas Keithley, you're now ready to sell with X, Y, and Z Medicare company, and then write down your writing ID. Those are the things that you need to know. And if you will put those in place, because that way when you call your upline or you call your carrier, well, not the carrier, they'll have all the answers all the time because they can see everything. But then we call your upline.
It makes it faster.
It does. If they say, hey, have you done this? Oh, I mean, I think I did.
I think so.
I can look at that spreadsheet and I say, yes, on this date, I did this. Wow. Oh, that's great. We see that. That contracting tracker will just help make sure, and then it makes sure that you get all of them done. Like, hey, I got 10 contracts on here and I only did 8 of them. Where's the other 2? I didn't create a separate contracting email. I bet they're in that one with 45,000 emails. I should go do a contracting email.
Start searching.
Yeah. So,
word search. Yeah.
So a contracting tracker that will help you simply just
guys, we're changing lives.
Stay
here.
on task.
This is unreal.
I'm telling you.
I've never been this excited about contracting.
And you never will be again, but
I hope not. What else? What do you got?
Honestly, that might be it. I actually think I did 2. I think I did 2 in 1, which was watching that email inbox like a hawk.
Yeah.
Because again, this needs to be your full-time job. While you're in the process of trying to get out in the field and sell, contracting needs to be your full-time job. And it's not going to be a fun full-time job. Don't get me wrong.
No. But it is a means to an end.
It is a means to an end, and there are things that you can do that won't make it perfect, but it'll make it easier. It'll make it feel more seamless. It'll make it feel like you're really moving, because there are a lot of times in contracting you feel like you're sitting on your hands. And so if you can put some of these things in place, at the very least, you know you got it and you know where you are.
Yeah. And I do, we joked earlier, I do have a spreadsheet that has all of my carriers in it.
Yeah.
It also has my portals. I created a hyperlink to each portal, and it has my writing number, my commission, all that. And I had somebody else create it for me. But I use it because there's nothing worse than you're sitting in front of a client, you've established yourself as the expert, and then you go and you get them. You know, you do all the hard work, and you're doing the app, and then boop, you got something on the screen that says you didn't complete your continuing education, or you didn't complete a certification or something like that. And then you have to be like, let's talk about XYZ company instead. So it really makes you look like the professional if you know what you're doing in front of a client.
Yeah. So I think to kind of backtrack and kind of go back through it again, decide what you're going to be. Are you an individual or are you a business entity? Create a second email address. I know keeping track of 1 sucks. Keep track of 2. It'll make your life easier. 2 seems harder, but it promise you it's worth it. Number 3, have a sense of urgency. Number 4, create yourself some kind of a mechanism to track. It's not going to make it perfect, but it will make your life exponentially easier, and it will ease the pain of contracting.
Wow. Ladies and gentlemen, Medicare Matt, I'm going to hold for applause. There it is.
There was. I heard it. It was great.
It was amazing. Thank you very much, buddy. We do have you do a standing ovation, but we know you're too tired to get out of the camera frame. Guys, thank you for watching the Medicare Sales Playbook. We hope you've enjoyed this. We hope this really helps. We hope that you can maybe get something out of this that you can take and allow your business to go to the next level, because here at the Medicare Sales Playbook, we're trying to increase your business one play at a time. Thank you for all the comments. Please like, subscribe, share. Share this with somebody. You say, Dallas, I already got all my contracts done. I promise you, you've got some people that are going through contracting that might make you money if they got their contracts done. So send this off to somebody to listen to. Matt, thank you again, buddy. Appreciate you.
Happy to.
Guys, we'll see you next week.